Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the men's room.
And away we go. Welcome to show number 2,811. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, Robin Fox, and my cock. Montgomery! Are in the men's room. On tap today, Ryan Castle's A Drunken Charge is into Sit and Spin Nut today. The 10 best boy band songs of all times.
Oh, yeah.
You are welcome.
Nice.
We'll review some men's room rules. Get ready to play Profile This. Plus headlines, a men's room shot of the day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorites, TV Time with Ted.
Click, clack.
Drinking and drunk. All right, here we go. This is actually real. In England, man gets 8 months in jail for flipping a traffic camera the bird. American airline passenger gets tased 10 times and still puts up a fight, which seems a bit absurd. Tennessee Waffle House, needless to say, has had a hell of a week. Man who stole $1 million in fajitas will now have jail food to critique, and Amazon will now stick it right in your trunk. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, let's go to the fine state of Oregon, where a man walked his dog on the beach. Now, he happened to be walking his dog on a nude beach, but he didn't have his dog on a leash. And that is when a naked man attacked him, actually jumped on top of him, started beating him up. And sure, the issue was about his dog not being on a leash. Nobody likes to get beat up, but the one thing to make it worse is to have it done by a naked person. Meanwhile, we go to Florida, where a man brought home divorce papers. His wife responded to the news by shooting at him. Now, she missed, but still. And then we told you yesterday about another couple in Florida. They got into an argument. We don't know what the argument was about, but it ended when one of them was hit in the face with Billy the Big Mouth Bass singing Fish. That's right. Somehow that became the center of the argument because it started getting petty. This is a couple. And one threw it, ended up hitting the other guy in the head with the singing Billy the Big Mouth Bass. True story. Now, the common denominator of all these stories is simply this. Things were fairly routine, and then somebody snapped and things went south real fast. But we've all been there. Either we've been the person that snapped or we've witnessed the person snapping, and maybe they were justified, maybe they weren't. But today's question is very simple. Who snapped and why?
Be part of the big show. Call 844-999-OLA. You can like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to the Men's Room at mensroomlive.com. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bichola. You have entered the men's room.
Oh, bicholas, and away we go. Welcome to show number 2,811. And what a large and charge program we have for you today. This is A Drunken Charge. Ryan Castle coming in to sit and spin. And today, the 10 best boy band songs of all times. Believe it or not, this list started out at 100 songs. We are bringing you the 10 best boy band songs ever. What constitutes a boy band? That'll be part of the discussion coming up. As,
a bunch of boys in a band.
That's pretty well it. That's the criteria.
I mean, Ted, you're our expert, I would say, on the boy band sensation. That's one of your pleasures in life, right?
It is.
Have you reviewed this list, or have you seen anything Castle has?
I have not, but I can guarantee you I like them.
Okay. But do you think you'll agree? I know you'll like
My
the
whole
song.
thing with boy band, generally, it's a group of dudes who don't write the songs, who sing and dance.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're getting today with Ryan Castle. 10 best boy band songs of all times. Coming up with Sit and Spin. You're welcome. The return of Men's Room rules. And yes, we will drink and toast with the shot of the day. And today we're going to talk about people who snap. You never know when someone's going to snap. That's why the term is snap. But we go to Portland, Oregon, As Oregon State Police are investigating after a man told law enforcement officials he was held down and punched several times by a nude man, upset that the alleged victim's dog was not on a leash at a clothing-optional beach.
Yeah.
Who knew?
That's not the way you go about it, man.
Oregon State Police said they are asking for the public's help in identifying the suspect. The incident took place on Thursday at Collins Beach, which is a privately owned nude beach near the Sauvie Island Wildlife Area?
Sure.
No idea. Police say the incident resulted in visible injury for the victim, who has not been identified. Police say they believe the suspect is a regular at the beach and has reportedly accosted others about dogs not on their leashes. Troopers described the man as 35 to 40 years old, 6'3", with a medium build and salt and pepper crew cut hair with a receding hairline. But yes.
We can't tell you what he was wearing, of course, because, he was naked.
You could identify him if he was naked. The problem is when he puts
we
clothes
assume,
on,
right.
Things get a little bit strange.
That's his secret identity. He puts on clothes.
Right? I mean, you get dressed, put on sunglasses, put on a hat. Whatever other description they gave, suddenly now you're Clark Kent.
We all remember the big mouth Billy Bass singing Fish.
Do we remember the song he sang? Robin, can we find the actual song?
I can't remember. Weren't they all like?
I remember.
No, but weren't they like?
Were they different? I thought it was one
I think he
song.
sang like "Take Me to the River."
He did sing "Take
Yeah.
Me to the River."
It was basically like water-based songs where you go like, oh, I get it, what he's doing there.
I think you would still buy him, though.
I
Like
mean,
at a store or online. I mean, like, I know you could go online and find them, but like what stores? Like, dude, we still got them.
I'm not positive where you ever bought it in a store. That seemed like something you order off TV.
I would love to go in there and like put that in a really nice restaurant somewhere.
Oh,
just to see
absolutely.
how long it took
Nice
someone to
seafood
look up there and
restaurant.
go like, what in the hell is that?
I just want to hear his voice because to me, the thing that makes this story, it's not just getting hit with this thing because I can picture it. That's funny. But I just imagine at the moment you get hit, this thing breaks into song. Wasn't it like, I don't know, like motion activated or something?
Yeah, I
So I feel like if you get
a
hit,
button.
I believe
was it a button? Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, wow, what a time to be alive. Anyway, the talking big mouth Billy Bass, at least one person still has one that we know of. He's a 54-year-old guy named Gregory Carney, and he lives in Sebastian, Florida, and he lives with his 52-year-old boyfriend, Larry Timmerman. So you got Larry and you got Gregory. They've been together for 17 years. Well, on Sunday afternoon, they got into a bit of an argument, and Gregory knew he could really get under Larry's skin by playing his big mouth bass over and over and over again, which apparently he did, until Larry snapped. Larry then grabbed the fish and put it in the trash. Gregory then fished it out of there.
No pun intended.
And then he threw it at Larry's frickin' head, so he was arrested for domestic battery. Do we have the big mouth Billy Bass singing Fish?
Well, it sings a few songs. Apparently, it sings "Take Me to the River." That's the one people want.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
It also sings "Don't Worry, Be Happy" and "I Will Survive."
Ooh, that's not a good one.
I wouldn't mind Bobby McFerrin.
You can go online now
Really?
and get one that only sings a couple songs, and people are very angry about it in the reviews.
What do you mean they're very angry about it?
Angry about what?
Why were they angry about it?
Because it doesn't sing "Take Me to the River," even though it showed it on the box as it was sold, as seen on TV products. They're
pissed.
supposed to come the way they're.
You know who had one?
Who?
Lemmy.
Did Lemmy
Really?
have one?
Yeah. Says big mouth Billy Bass appeared in the 2010 film Lemmy, which Killmeister activates the device hanging next to his bathroom mirror.
All right. Well, it only gets 3 out of 5 stars here on Amazon.
What are your expectations?
Well, I don't really know too much about it.
Did you ever have one?
No, but I would love to. 51 customer reviews.
But
How can you be so excited about something you never even owned?
Well, I saw the commercials. It's like anything else.
I know, but you talk about it with this reference. I figured you had like 2 or 3.
because it's the big mouth Billy Bass. I mean, I typically try to get some of these things. Like we got the flying great white shark.
that thing was awesome.
That was pretty cool.
But that's fun. You can control that thing. It floats in the air and it's remote control. You can send it down the hall, right? Basically, it's a shark-shaped drone.
The problem with the big mouth Billy Bass
Is everything.
yes, because my uncle had one in his beach condo forever. So
really?
it's fun the first couple times.
First couple
But
of
then
times.
it's just wicked annoying.
Sure,
This Mount Cave says, this Billy Bass is just as I remember. It sounds great. The mouth moves with the song perfectly. I'm glad with the seller. This one says,
Really?
I got this as a post-Christmas cheer-up gift for myself and my college roommate. Made us very happy and continues to do so in my apartment now. We did turn the auto sensor off, though, because it's a fight in the middle of the night and loud enough to wake everyone up. So there must be a sensor on there as well, if you have a motion sensor and
See,
a button.
that's what I remember was a motion sensor. I guess you can do either or.
See, everyone smiles and laughs. Glad I purchased this. There's a hell of a buy right there. Either way, they got into it, and he threw the talking big mouth bass right at his face.
So the guy that was playing it, the other guy threw it in the trash, and then the dude that was already annoying him picked it up and hit the other guy in the face with it?
Threw it in his head.
Yeah, he was pissed.
Man.
All right, speaking of snapped, here we go again. And this is a much worse situation. And we're still in Florida. There is a 41-year-old woman named Wendy Dennis in Molino, Florida, and she's been married to her husband for 8 years. But he was done, so last Tuesday, he went to a lawyer and he got some divorce papers. And when he came home with them, Wendy responded by grabbing a rifle out of her car and shooting him. Fortunately, she missed, and the guy locked himself in the house and called 911. She was arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Our question, who snapped and why? 844-999-OLA.
We got a couple of comments here. It says, just this weekend, I snapped over the laundry machine. My roommate's girlfriend does all of her laundry at our place, even though she has an apartment. And apparently, she said my boyfriend and I had been holding the machine hostage, using it over the weekend. I told her to use her own damn washer. You're absolutely in the right. Wait a minute. You're mad at me for using my washer and dryer. Sorry.
Yeah.
So sorry. When I was 16, a bunch of friends were hanging out at my house when my cousin found out that one of the guys had previously slept with his girlfriend while he had not yet. He snapped, threw a cast iron chair at my house and screamed, "I'll effing kill you."
Jesus.
Then stormed away crying. My husband's ex-wife decided I was the reason for all of her problems. So one time we ran into each other. She tried to choke me. Restraining order soon followed.
Wow.
Yeah. And then this one I appreciate. This girl I worked with was really fun, very outgoing, and always in a good mood. But when it came to men, she didn't take any S. Well, one day she wasn't at work. Then that turned into 2 days. And when she came back, she told me that she got arrested and went to jail. I jokingly said, "Oh, would you stab your husband?" She replied, "Girl, who told you?" I was like,
no.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That from Wesley.
All right.
Hey, man, I was kidding.
That's when you take it to a different level. You shouldn't be able to stab someone and still walk around the streets, right?
Well, she went to jail for 2 days. I was like, she's back at work. Like, sorry, I missed work, y'all. I put a knife in my husband. You know?
Yeah.
That's how bail works.
That's all bail is, right? It's the bribe to get out before trial. They just don't call it a bribe. They call it bail, but it's the same damn thing. If you got the money, we'll let you out. If you don't, you got to stay.
Yeah, Miles, you could stab a dude and be out in a couple days.
I don't think
You
so.
could.
Yeah.
No, I don't think
You
so.
could.
I'm
You
not
could.
sure about that. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
No, you're going to be in there for a while if you stab somebody.
I think it depends on the circumstance.
Your buddy was stabbed. That guy snapped at a Royal Farms.
Yeah, I didn't know that they stabbed him, though. But, I mean, this sounds bad, but I know people that have maybe been suspicion of assault charges.
What do you mean
What do
suspicion
you
of
think?
assault charges?
If you had to guess,
Well, if
based
you
on
get in a bar fight and you beat the crap out of somebody, I mean, that's an assault charge.
Yeah.
But I mean, I not to be serious, but that's how bail works. Like, unless it's like murder one, like they're pretty much going to set a bail for
right,
it.
if it's not murder.
Yeah, you'll be in there for a little while.
I mean, it's weird she's back at work joking about stabbing the husband.
She wasn't joking, though.
Yeah.
Her coworker was joking. She was like, "Who told you?" She's like, dude, I was joking. I did not realize you actually stabbed your husband.
Never been in a domestic that went to that level. I've been in the jumping out of the car domestic level before.
Yeah, but I feel like that's
insane.
50% of any relationship, and it's if that person's going to do it.
Sure.
It's almost like,
in your younger 20s there, you know, I mean, just driving along, like, oh my God, close the door, Jesus, I'll pull over.
Get your thing, like, you're not going to jump. Oh my God,
and they're gone.
And they're rolling down the street. You're like,
Jesus Christ.
Listen, man, I know you're mad, and I know you want to get away from me. I get it. Part of the reason I was driving fast is so we could get away from each other. I did not actually expect you to unlock the door, take off your seatbelt, and then physically jump out of the car. And it's a bad look when other people drive by and you have some injured person on the side of the road. And you're not responsible for it, but no one believes you at first. It's always, hey, lady, you okay? It's like, dude, she did this to her. She jumped out of a goddamn car.
Right.
And that's why she looks like someone who jumped out of a car.
I think the last time that I really, really snapped, like I completely lost my mind, where I destroyed something it's probably been about 7 or 8 years. And I had a computer, I had an Apple computer, and I had taken it in to get serviced, and they'd serviced the computer, and they said, you know, the computer it's old, you're going to need to update this, you know, upgrade it at some point in time. But I didn't really feel like doing it. So I spent a little bit of money on it, and they upgraded the damn thing. And then they put on a different browser, which was something completely different, and it kind of ate all the memory up, so my computer really didn't work.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and it looks real nice, you know what I mean? But nothing is working, and everything is really, really slow and ridiculous. So I determined to myself that I can't take this anymore, and not being real tech savvy, I physically picked up the computer and smashed it into the ground like 10 times. I was so pissed off. There's plastic everywhere. The computer is completely destroyed. And I felt so much better about it. And I was just like, well, just go buy a new one. You know what I mean? Like, I
Which is what they told you to do anyway.
And I knew it was toast. And I'm just like, God. And I picked it up, man. And I'm just bashing it into the ground. And pieces are flying. Like, what is going on? And they're like, God damn it.
Uh-huh.
That was probably the last time that I really snapped. Because I think as time has gone on, what I've realized is when I snap, I punch things, like I punch the wall.
That's what snapping is, right?
And normally, like, I'm not as good.
You're not sitting quietly brooding. If you snapped, it's like everyone knows you have officially lost your mind.
I've lost my mind a few times. But the problem is that I'm not very good at replacing drywall. So I've gotten a lot better as time goes on. There's a couple places. There's one place I punched through a pocket door at one point in time because I was just so pissed.
That sucks.
And I didn't realize how expensive the pocket door was.
Right.
And it's a solid door, man, and I dented the hell out of this thing. And it's tough to patch up wood. It doesn't look very good.
No, it looks like crap.
Because it's wood. That was the worst one I've ever done. But, man, I absolutely blew my hand wide open, man, the whole deal. And then I was like, you know what, I got to stop doing this.
Yeah.
Eventually.
I remember I punched a hole in a stairwell, but I owned the house, and I tried to patch it up, and just like you're saying it, I patched it, I painted it, but when you looked at it, obviously I had patch and paint, right? It's just, so it comes time to sell the house, and I'm like, oh, God damn it. Tried to fix it again, I just made it worse. It didn't look any better, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hang a picture over this bad boy, which is exactly what I did.
Oh, really? That's a good idea.
Yeah. Showed the house, sold the house, and I did have a modicum of guilt as you're now prepping up to move.
You sold a house with a hole in the wall with a picture over top of it?
There was not a hole in the wall. There was a poor patch where a hole had been. And, but look, man, I was trying to patch it. I really tried to do a good job. Either I don't have the patience, the skill. It doesn't matter. Either way, it looked worse than it did when so I was like, F it, man. So I put up a picture, right? And it was and it's one of those deals where when you walked in the front door, there's a staircase immediately in front of you. It's about 6 stairs. And then it does a 180. You take the next set and you're on the living floor. So you can't not see this hole. As soon as you open the front door, you look up the stairs, there it was. If you're upstairs and look down the stairs, the first thing you see is that. So I put the picture there, and I'll be honest with you. The picture looked very tasteful and may have helped sell the house because now it had that appeal when you open the door.
Like very homey.
But all I can say.
Picture.
I had to tell the real estate agent, like, look, man, I know sometimes you guys like to switch things around and do the stuff to help sell the house. You can do anything you want. You cannot move that picture. You cannot move that picture. It's like, do I want to know what's behind? I'm like, you know what's behind that picture. Don't move the picture. I feel a little bad.
Right. I'll eventually fix it.
Look, man, everything else in that house was in working order. But so now you're moving and you grab all your stuff and like the last thing you grab is the picture. And at that point, you kind of forgot the hole was there. So I grabbed this thing and I'm like, oh, man, that's a real bad job. Then I made the mistake of like you poke your finger on it. So this whole thing that I kind of put in the whole thing shifts a little bit. And that's the problem, right? It's fine to patch a hole where you put up a picture. It's a nail hole. If you put your fist through the wall, the hole is still bigger than your fist, and it turns out like putty, not really the best thing to fix it.
Yeah.
There's still a hole in my dad's house I can find.
What, from the wall, from putting your hand through the wall?
Actually, it wasn't me. It was my buddy.
He put
in your house?
In your house?
Well, we were playing goal line stance.
And
he kept losing. So in frustration, he just kind of got up and went like that. But his hand just went right through.
Right through the wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we had to patch it up. But it's funny, my dad did the same thing. He hung a little picture over it and hasn't changed in 17 years.
Right. I mean, it's never going to go away.
No.
You know it's behind. I don't know, man. But like when you're a kid, your thought is that walls are so solid, right? Mm-hmm. So, and to me, it seemed like the first time you really lose your lose your temper and put your fist through a wall, it's honestly because, one, you have snapped, you've lost your mind. But you didn't realize the drywall was just so soft and break it. Because if you're like me, it's the same thing you're saying, Ted, where you're living at home with your parents. Like, look, if you're in your own place, That's fine as an adult. It sucks, but you deal with it. But you're like, I don't know, you're arguing with your brother, whatever it is, and you throw your hand in frustration, and now you've put your hand through a wall. So momentarily at age 12, you're like, boy, I'm awfully strong. But then you realize, like, drywall is nothing, and now there's this weird thing because even though you and your sibling have been fighting and arguing and it has gotten loud, once that hole shows up somehow, at least in my house, both of us are going to be in trouble for this.
Yeah.
So my father's like, I don't care who did what. Both of you go down in flames, right? See, and now, like, all that screaming and all of that fury and all that pomp and circumstance that led up to this argument, it is now deathly silent, and you're just staring at this hole, and now you've become a team. Where you were enemies only 5 seconds ago, now you're reunited like, oh, my God, when Dad gets home. And I don't know about you. If you've tried to patch a hole as a child, I suck at it as an adult. But as a kid, it doesn't make things better. My brother, who I always looked up to as being the smart one, was, well, if we cut it kind of square, that was a bad idea. Now we just had a bigger hole in the shape of a square. He had not thought it through, like, all right, well, now we have a square.
You gotta cut it out, though.
But what do we replace it with? See, we didn't get that far. So now we have simply cut a square hole in the wall, and my father was less than enthusiastic when he got home. Yeah. And here's why. When he gets home and he sees this hole, and I always hate when he did this, he looked at us both and said, look, I don't know what happened, and you're going to tell me what happened, but it better not be that one of you got mad.
Who snapped and why? 844-999-OLA. We'll take a break and be right back with your calls. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
We return to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Still to come, Ryan Castle, the drunk and charge into Sit and Spin today. The 10 best boy band songs of all times. That's coming up. Our question day, who snapped and why? This is a crazy story. What began as a simple boarding dispute at Miami International Airport escalated into a tour de force of plane drama as a belligerent passenger was repeatedly stunned by police, forcibly carried out of his seat, then driven through the terminal with his head hanging out the back of a golf cart like a man, as they say in the article, in a stockade.
Did you see this guy?
Yes. This from the Washington Post. And all that, by the way, was before police say that Jacob Garcia lunged for an officer's gun and kicked out a squad car window.
Jesus, man.
Garcia, who was 28 years old, with a handlebar mustache, who's, apparently, this is a really bizarre situation. Okay. It all starts with the boarding of an American airline flight around 9 o'clock from Chicago headed to Miami. Before the plane could leave the airport, the police wrote in the report, a seatmate accused Garcia of touching her without her permission. Mm-hmm. An American Airlines manager asked Garcia to switch seats, according to police. At which point, Garcia began to scream and insult the woman and her boyfriend, and then a fight broke out. This guy seemed to be agitated on boarding, and he was harassing passengers and saying racial slurs to several people.
Awesome.
That, according to a passenger on the plane, who later recounted the entire incident on their Twitter feed. And many videos, by the way, of the first altercation were taken from the vantage point across the plane aisle, et cetera, et cetera. Quote, you're ignorant because you've got all these people standing here, a woman says in the video, standing over a seat that apparently contains Garcia. You're ignorant. The seat's occupant replies.
Oh.
Put your finger down. Then the sounds of slapping ensue. The flight crew asked all passengers to deplane around that point, American Airlines said.
Get off the plane.
But Garcia, he kept on fighting. So several Miami-Dade police officers then boarded the plane. The subsequent confrontation was recorded from multiple viewpoints by local interest in seeing Garcia removed from the plane. You need to stop talking, dude, an onlooker told him, as three relatively large officers tried to lift the 5'7" man from his aisle seat, and everyone ignored the captain's voice over the intercom. What is the reason you're removing me from the plane? Garcia yelled over and over. What is the reason you're removing me? Well, you just assaulted a lady, for one, someone replied. You're a racist, for two, someone else replies. What is the reason? Garcia repeats. I'm asking you right now. The officers leaned over him. One brought out handcuffs. One said, don't fight, dude. You have to answer, Garcia said. Do not fight. Fine, Garcia said. Tase me, and you'll see what happens. That was his quote. Tase me, and you will see what happens.
We know what happens.
Tase me.
Quite a few passengers delayed getting off the plane to watch Garcia struggle.
Yeah.
Several spectators drew back when they saw Officer Rudy distrauches or something, draw a stun gun, but they kept watching anyway. Johnson, watch out. He offers the warning, and then he pins Garcia to a seat, and he aims the weapon. No, go ahead, Garcia taunted. Go ahead, Johnson. The other officer moved out of the way, and the officer pulled the trigger. However, Garcia's shirt seemed to flicker with electricity, and he hardly seemed to notice.
Uh-oh.
In their report, police would explain that only one of the weapon's two prongs attached to Garcia's skin, which might have lessened its effect. They also explained what happened next. Get out of here, Garcia yelled, and he slapped his hand away from the officer. The officer activated the device again, and again, and again, and again, and again, 10 times in total.
Damn!
But Garcia, he kept squirming, inquiring again and again while he was being removed from the plane, as the constant rapid clicking sound of the high-voltage weapon soundtracked his protest in the background. He's like, why am I being taken off this plane? Nothing is affecting this guy. A woman screams, a man 3 seats back. He is straining his neck for a better view of what's going on. After nearly a minute of zapping, Garcia twisted his head free from beneath an officer's knee, looked up at the officer and half smiled, and then said, why am I being removed?
Officers still don't get it, huh?
Officers finally got Garcia into handcuffs and cleared the other passengers from the plane. But as they dragged him down the aisle, they wrote later that Garcia locked his feet around the legs of a seat in the area, and it was necessary to pull him forward and carry him toward the exit. He was walking by the time he emerged from the sky bridge, his shirt tail half pulled up from the torso, and addressed his fellow passengers as they once again took out their cameras. I need all of you, he told the jeering crowd, but was interrupted as officers pushed him into the back of a golf cart. Sit, one guy said. I will sit, said Garcia, if you do not push me down. 2 officers forced Garcia's stiff legs to buckle, as if bending a stubborn mannequin, and pressed him into the back of this cart. They used their body weight of pressing him down so that he would sit. He then doubled over. His head hung a few inches over the rear bumper as the cart sped away. And still, he yelled. I mean, everyone here is seeing this, Garcia says.
Yes, dummy.
Flight 2446 finally left Miami an hour late, American said, and the passengers who remained did not see the rest of Garcia's journey to jail, but it did not get any easier, according to police. As Mr. Garcia was being escorted from the terminal, he collapsed to the ground in an effort to impede the officer's efforts.
Jesus Christ.
He's going through everything in the book.
Everything he
The
can think
initial
of.
officer had then ineffectively, who tried to stun him on the plane, shifted then to lift him up.
Is this Johnson?
No, this is Johnson. As he did this, Mr. Garcia reached for and grabbed Johnson's handgun.
Oh, Jesus, man.
He then knocked his hand away, according to reports, and turned to prevent Garcia from lunging for the gun again. When police finally got him in the car, they said Garcia managed to kick the window out of its frame. The Miami Herald reported that Garcia was booked into jail on charges of battery, disorderly conduct, resisting an officer without violence, criminal mischief, and attempting to deprive an officer with means of protection. The Washington Post tried to reach out to Garcia, but CBS Chicago spoke to his former legal guardian, who said he was a straight-A veterinary school student whose usual demeanor was nothing like the man in the videos. He's very giving, very loving. You know, he loves animals, and he really loves people.
No, he doesn't. He does not love people.
What is this guy on?
That can't be sober.
No,
If
there's
it is,
no way,
then he's
man.
got a serious imbalance.
He was tased 10 times. Is he on drugs or is he drunk?
I'm saying drugs, man.
That's impressive.
I think drugs, right? Because he wasn't slurring his speech, and they never pointed out that he reeked of alcohol. Usually those things come up when you're drunk. I'm saying my man was high on, like, bath salts or something.
Who snapped and why? 844-999-OLA.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.